Hello, everyone, and welcome to Portal 64. I'm your host, David, and we have Cal with us this week,
Hi.
which we have a funny story on how that came to be. I mean, not funny, but you're lifesaver, pretty much. That's the story.
Mm-hmm.
Haha, very funny. Like, Sunny told me weeks ago that she had work today, so I knew about that, but then, like, Brianna, who was supposed to cover for her, was like, now I have to babysit, so thank you.
And David knows I have no life, so he was like, all right, Cal.
Well, we've been talking a lot, and we're like, yeah, we're going to hang out at RTX. So I'm like, yeah, I should have you on again. And although someone commented on last week's VYTALcast about Lorelai being on, he's like, Lorelai again? Wasn't she on here not too long ago? I love her,
geez.
but... And I'm like, really? So, like, when I was inviting you, I'm like, are we gonna get a similar comment from the same person again?
I mean, it's been a while. Like, I don't even remember the last time I've been on.
It's been a few months.
Yeah,
I'll
definitely a couple months.
Let me Google this, or actually, I'm just already.
If I had to guess, I would guess February, to be honest.
Let me check my video manager. For whatever reason, Google's taking a long time. Okay. Playlists. VYTALcast. 49 videos until I delete one of them and replace it with the better version. Okay. Let's see. Featuring Cal. Where is Cal? So Lorelai was kind of a while ago. She was on, her first guest was on 41, and then there was like 8 VYTALcasts between last time she was on and this time. Where? Yeah, I can't. Oh, wow. Yeah, number 29. No, 30. Were you on 2 weeks in a row? Huh.
I think that in one of the titles, it's somebody else is there, but you put my name again.
Did I? Oh my gosh.
That's it.
Okay, I'm gonna click. I gotta find out. Hello. Oh my gosh, yeah, you're right. I'm fixing
this. I wasn't on because I looked it up a couple of weeks ago for some reason. I was like, I wasn't on twice.
Yep, I'm fixing.
And then I clicked it and I'm like, that's not me.
Fixing it. Sadly, I cannot fix the on-screen information calling Sunny, you.
Feels real sad.
Yeah. Oops. That's what I get for being an egghead. Okay. Hey, Jonathan. It's fine now? Why? Because I am here. And then we're doing good. And oh, speaking of My Hero Academia, hold on, I'm going off screen.
Ooh, okay. I'm
back.
ready. I have a feeling I know what's going on.
Yeah,
okay.
I got my gym clothes. So it has pockets and it's a little stretchy. I mean, like, it's good that it's stretchy, but it's a little tight in the armpit for some reason. Like, out of all places. I feel like I'm being attacked for trying to do fit for RTX. And it's like,
oh boy.
Oh, your arms are beefier than they used to be. Now they can't fit through gym clothes.
I said that months ago. Oh, I'm gonna get in shape for RTX, and now I'm like, well, it's 2 weeks away.
See, that was me for the last 2 RTXs. Like, I think last RTX was probably the fattest I've ever been.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So I'm definitely not the fattest I've ever been, but I'm definitely not the skinniest I've ever been either. Because I used to be a twig, so.
I think that, like, for me, like, I'm apparently like an average weight for my height or whatever, because I'm really short or whatnot, but I'm still like, I'm gonna die. Like, walking around, like, that's the problem. I'm skinny, but I'm not healthy.
You should start walking now.
I know, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I gotta go outside and, like, walk 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, just leading up to RTX, or else, like, that's why I was so worried about, like, the food stuff, like, the granola bars and all that, which has now been resolved, which is good, but I was like, oh my god.
The food stuff's been resolved, but not the...
The water stuff's still a bit, sketchy. And the outside line.
Yeah, the water stuff is not perfect, and the line stuff... Hold on, I'm gonna pull up the journal, just because there's two things I really want to point out, and I recorded like a rant video about this. I
wanted to do one, but I was like, I don't know.
That's where I'm at right now, because I'm like, like this needs to be talked about, but I made it very clear at the beginning of the video that I'm not attacking Bethany or the live events team, and there's actually been some clues that this isn't the live team's fault. Let's see if I can find it, and I'll explain by it's not the line's fault. Where? Okay, so Bethany did retweet it just recently. Okay, so if I could pull up Chrome on the... Thanks OBS. Now I have to reset the capture. Okay, there we go. Reset the capture. So, I'm just seeing some of the tweet. Honesty is saying this weekend's gonna kill me. My Hero Academia and Attack on Titan. Well, don't forget the Red vs. Blue finale as well.
Oh boy.
Okay, so number 5. So this was on their frequently asked questions on the journal.
Yeah.
And some of these I believe were here before the edit, but then they added more. So number 5 said, how long will the wait times be each morning? And it says, while we cannot give you an exact expected wait time, which I don't think anyone expected, they're like, we highly encourage you not to bring large bags bigger than 12 by 12 inches when possible, and to be prepared as you get to the front of the security checkpoint. We also recommend you check out the Animation Festival at the JW Marriott for early morning panels, and then head over to the Austin Convention Center midday.
So basically, don't come over here. Go over there, and then come over here.
Which there's a few things we could break down. One, they said, while we cannot give you an exact expected wait time, they could have given like some sort of estimate. They avoided that completely, which again, you could kind of say, well, saying they cannot give you an exact expected wait time fills that. But they, let's see, they said like, there was something about the weather they said in some other thing about waiting outside. They're like, oh, the weather will be like 70s to 80s from like 9 to 11, which I looked up the weather last year.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I don't believe.
Yeah, I looked up the weather for last year, and it was like, no, it got a lot hotter earlier that day, and it was like 80% humidity too.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we're gonna die. But then they say, like, go to the Animation Festival at the JW Marriott for early morning panels, then head over. Which...
No one's going to the Marriott. I mean, I'm sure some people will go, but I looked at the schedule, and even if there's stuff that I wanted to go to over there, I was like, I'm not going.
I mean, there's the Camp panel.
Yeah, that's what I was like, okay. But I'm like, I don't want to.
You know, speaking of the Camp panel, I posted in the Utah Rooster Teeth community thing, like, the schedule, and highlighted VYTALCast. I'm like, hey guys, come see me at VYTALCast, which a few people are going to go to. But the only comment I got on that Facebook post was Camp. And I'm like, rude. I'm aware Camp's at the same time. But also, the problem with going to the Animation Festival first thing in the morning is it's first thing in the morning. That's when it's coolest. Why would you want to get back in line when it's hotter?
Yeah.
And then there's like number 14 down here. It says, I will be cosplaying at RTX and do not want to wait outside in my cosplay. What are my options? And the answer is, you must go through the security checkpoint like every attendee, which, no duh. And then you may head to the meeting room 1 to change into your cosplay. We have designated a cosplay dressing room at the ACC meeting room 1 on the level 1 near Exhibit Hall 1, Palazzo, at the center of Cesar Chavez and Trinity Street. There will be a guardian on staff to assist. Please note that this dressing room is not for storage. You cannot hold on to your belongings throughout the day, and you will be responsible for your cosplay. That part makes sense. But most people are going to be wearing like red versus blue, or like Jean armor, or like, you know, stuff that they'll need like a suitcase to carry it. And so at number 5, they said don't bring anything bigger than 12 inches by 12 inches. But you're gonna need a big bag for your cosplay.
Yeah.
And also, people are gonna have to lug around suitcases with them all day.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be
if
torture.
they decide to change in there. So it's like, it's a catch-22, because it's like, do I bring something small, like, to get through security faster, and then swelter outside in my armor or whatever? Or is it, like, the other way around? Do I bring a big suitcase but have to spend a lot of time at security, but then bring around the suitcase all day and not sweat in their cosplay or whatever?
Yeah, and also, like, the big bags will slow down the wait time, so people are gonna be like, people will be like, ugh, how dare you bring a big bag? You're slowing down the process, and we're all dying out here because of you. One solution I could have thought of was, in the expo hall, they had plenty of unused floor space last year, and not as much the year before, but last year they had plenty of space. They could easily just set up like a little area for people to put their bags, and even just have a few guardians there on duty, like have like a tag system, so you come there with your bag, they put a tag that says a number, and then they give you a ticket with the same number, and you have to keep the ticket in order to exchange your bag at the end of the day when you want to pick it up. That would make sense, and like that way people don't have to carry their bags everywhere. But I do think it's like, hey, can you pick one or the other, like no big bags, or
I was hoping for tents, because Fan Expo Canada has all their lines are outside, but they have tents like for when you go through security or whatever, and then kind of in the outside line, and then once you pass security, it's all open, but you're going inside of the building anyway, so it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they did mention outside. They do say somewhere on here that the security checkpoint is under a pavilion.
Mm-hmm.
So the security checkpoint sounds like it is outside, like all the metal detectors and that.
Yeah.
But they don't say anything about shade for the rest of the line.
Yeah.
And Arma on Twitter like did the math for me. He was
I
like,
saw that and I was like, oh no.
There's at least an hour wait. Like that's best case scenario. Hour wait in the line, which in like 85 to 90 degree weather, you're gonna die. Like bring your water, chug it down, and then still hope that's enough to hold you. Which for me, I'm a wimp in the heat. Here. This is my trash. This is my trash can. Only water bottles. This is from today only.
Oh my god.
So, I like to stay hydrated, but I'm a thirsty boy.
That's hilarious.
So.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I personally am going to die in this, but it's like, oh great. I'm gonna have to bring like one water bottle and then make sure I empty it, which I know I will by the time I go through the security checkpoint or they dump it. But I'm gonna need more than one water bottle.
Someone in the chat was like, I hope you recycle them.
Oh, no, dude, yeah, John Ronald, don't worry, I recycle. My city, we have a blue trash can and a regular trash can and a green trash can. Blue is the recycle for plastics, and trust me, our family like fills that up more than we do like the non-recyclable trash. Like, most of the trash in this house is, like, paper and plastic, so we recycle. Hey, Arnold, he also said I better recycle those. So, and now I'm being quoted by Jonathan that I'm a thirsty boy. I am. So,
I wonder how early we can get there, though, to wait in the line. Does that make sense? Like, if the line's open at
9 noon,
and I know they open. Wait,
the line starts at 9. They updated it. So originally they said 9:45. Okay. Here, I'll find which bullet point says. I think it's one of the earlier ones, but they did say. Okay,
like, yeah. I wonder if we can like stalk outside of the convention center until they open up the line.
Yeah, so I think number 1.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you could start lining up as early as you want, I think, but. You're not going to get anywhere till like a certain time.
Yeah.
So number 1 says, where do I pick up my attendee bag? And it says 2 answers. If you're picking up your bag on Thursday, enter one of the security checkpoints to go to the exhibit hall to pick up your badge from 9:45 a.m. to 5:30. That isn't what I was looking for. Where is it? Okay, security checkpoints. No, they don't say what time. I know they say it opens at a time somewhere in here. Hold on. let's see. What should I expect from the weather? Nope. Oh yeah, this is where they're saying from high 70s to low 80s between 7 a.m. to 10 a.m.
I don't believe that.
It's gonna be a teensy bit hotter than that, but even then, 80s is pretty hot, especially with the humidity. But,
like I mentioned, I haven't gone outside in weeks,
but,
and it's not that hot in Canada to begin with. So
yeah, but also number 11 is still contradicting. Is it number 14? No. It's contradicting
I feel bad
number
for
5.
anybody that's gonna cosplay, to be honest. Like,
yeah, so number 11 is contradicting number 5 when they say, oh, just wait till later in the day to go to the convention center, like midday. But then number 11, they're like, hey, here's the weather for 7 to 11. I mean, 7 to 10. And we're like, why? Like, that sounds like the prime time to get in line or be in the line.
when it's the least hot.
Yeah.
But I guess if they're saying, oh, but by the afternoon people would have cleared out, like, I guess, I don't know.
Well, but people are constantly going from one building to the other.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm glad they fixed the food. For sure. And
I was very worried about the food.
Yeah, and I'm not mad that they're adding security. Like, that's a good thing. And considering, like, what's happened in Austin specifically this year, it's like, oh, yeah, they have all the reason in the world to do so. But security last year was pretty good, too. Like, RTX, compared to, like, last year, was already, like, the most secure convention I've ever seen. So they're upping that again, which, again, not bad. I just wish that we didn't have, like, the TanaCon situation.
Yeah, where everybody's outside in the heat.
Well, there was that, but then also, like, we had Bernie Burns, Ashley Jenkins, and Gus all tweeting and even talking on the RT podcast saying, like, man, how stupidly dangerous is that to have people waiting for hours outside in that heat? And we're like, oh, thank goodness, RTX won't be that way. And then this week they're like, hey, guys, you're going to be waiting outside in the heat for RTX. And we're like, we trusted you. I don't know. But... yeah, I'll stop complaining about the Austin heat. I mean, once you're inside, you'll be fine, but still stay hydrated. But
bring those 10 water bottles, David.
Yeah, seriously, I'm gonna be
a thirsty boy you were meant to be.
I should update one of my cosplays to be like some hydro cannon guy, like a Blastoise or something. Well, no, I'd have to empty that going through the checkpoint.
Oh.
Yeah, some people were asking about...
is dead.
Yeah, some people were asking about camel packs, and they hadn't answered that at all. But my guess is, well, they'd have to empty the camel pack if you hadn't emptied it already at the checkpoint, and then you'd have to refill it, which a lot of people are like, yeah, that's too much of a hassle with the camel pack.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Brandon Dodge did say, so the stream says Happy 5th, RWBY. Would you want to talk about that? And the answer is yes. That is why I put it in the title.
Thank you for the free segue.
Alrighty. So where were you 5 years ago, Cal?
Oh, God. That's the worst. I'm 18 now. 5 years ago, I would have been...
oh, man.
13?
Yeah. You were small.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have been just entering high school, and I had no idea what RWBY was.
At 13 years old?
Yeah, because I have a late birthday, so I would have turned 14, I think, my first year, or whatever.
Okay. So, gosh, okay, wait, hold on. Murderer Birds is saying, to be honest, RTX has always been carefree with security at the ACC. It was only last year when they added the metal detectors. No, they had the metal detectors last year. Oh, for the expo hall. Sorry. I was thinking of the photo ops, because I was like, no, we had the metal detectors for the photo ops, but yeah. But still, having the metal from last year, having the metal detectors to go into the expo hall, that's the most security I've ever seen at a convention. Which is a kind of low bar, but it's the most I've seen.
Even for Fan Expo, we haven't had metal detectors, but I wonder if this year they'll add them.
I mean, up in Salt Lake here in Utah, we have Fan X, which is like America's third largest convention, and we have no metal detectors at all. It's very similar to how it was in 2016 for RTX, which is you just have your badge and you scan and you're in. That's pretty much it. That, and you open your bag and you just quickly flash it to be like, yeah, I don't have anything, and then you go in. So, and that's...
But I guess in the States, like, y'all have more guns, so it kind of makes sense that, like, even though
we're not
Toronto's the
allowed
biggest
guns
convention...
in the conventions.
I know that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, it makes sense for the metal detectors maybe in the States more than, like, up here, because it's, like, people could bring, I guess, like, knives or whatever.
Yeah.
It's, like...
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, at the third largest convention in the States, they don't have metal detectors, and we have, like, super high-class celebrities like Matt Smith and, like, directors that go there and all that. All people you can meet. We had George Takei there one year, which my cousin somehow accidentally got past his bodyguards and then got harassed by said bodyguards.
Oh no.
So we were walking through, like, the expo hall, and I was talking to him, and I turn around, he just gets lost in this sea of, like, black shirts. And then I see in the middle of the black shirts, my cousin, like, George Takei walked into my cousin, because he wasn't looking where he was walking, because he was talking to an assistant. And then the security, I was like, Logan, what are you doing? Security guards turn around, see my cousin, grabbed him and just yanked him out of the crowd.
Oh, boy.
I'm like, dude, how did you accidentally, like, get past security guards? Because he wasn't paying attention to what was going on. And he also didn't know who George Takei was.
Oh,
no. Which was even more hilarious.
I don't know who George Takei is either, so
he's from Star Trek. Like,
oh, okay.
Yeah. But he's also, like, a big LGBT, like, activist voice guy here in the States. So, anyway, oh, so Arnold's adding on to his comment saying, I'm just saying the core safety is preventing any dangerous things into the ACC itself. Yes, and again...
And I'm glad for that, because that's, like, my top fear is, like, something, like, bad happening,
and
I
you
guess.
were talking about your mom was, like, very... scared about that
yeah,
sort
my
of
mom
stuff.
is like exactly. It's just because we see stuff happening in the US from a Canadian perspective, and so it's a lot more scary for us when it doesn't. I mean, obviously if it happens often, that doesn't make it any better, but it's like my mom's like, I don't want you going down to Texas. Like, Texas is the worst place you could go.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's all right, Mom, don't worry about it.
Yeah, so, but, like, having the metal detectors, I'm not arguing against that. It's the line outside thing that I'm upset about. It's just like, oh, for the sake of safety, we're going to put some people's health at risk of, like, having a heat stroke or something. Because I guarantee, with 62,000 people, there's going to be...
Some people are going to get sick.
There's going to be someone that's just down and out from this. So, I just think there's ways to be able to still have these security checkpoints, but not have people out in the sun for so long.
Or at least tents. Like, tents is an easy solution if they want to keep it outside, but then also shade people.
Yeah, and also, I forgot to point out in number 5 is kind of where they have the hint of this is the ACC, not so much RTX. Because they mentioned going to the JW Marriott for early morning stuff, and it's kind of implying that the JW Marriott does not have these security checkpoints. Which, granted, there's not as much of stuff there, but it's still like, okay, if this was RTX being like, yes, we want to have these security checkpoints for people coming into the convention, that they would do this for all 3 of the buildings that RTX is in.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So, and yeah, Arnold, I agree with you. Unfortunately, you have to give up freedom for security, which is why I'm sort of okay with the FBI looking at my emails, but also, why would they be looking at my emails when I haven't done anything, you know? So, yeah, anyway. Yeah, I'm not mad about it. I'm fine with going through all that stuff. It's just the outside in the heat that I'm like...
Yeah. I mean, I've never been, so I don't know how it's been previous years, so I can't really say, like, what they've done in the past, I guess.
I thought last year was fine for, like, having the Expo Hall have them. The first day is always going to be the rough day for RTX because that's like the day they don't know how things are going to go, and they even said in line number 5 they're like, we cannot give you an exact expected wait time, and it's like, well, I know the longest wait time is going to be on the first day because that's when they're sorting out kinks. So, but Brandon Dodge says, hopefully RTX has more places for shade and hopefully more water fountains. They did address having more coolers. There's going to be a cooler in the RTX panel room and all the panel rooms, so you will be able to refill stuff. And I know in the really big panel room where the RWBY panel is, there is a drinking fountain and bathroom on like the right side. If you're facing the panel to the far right, there's going to be water fountains and bathrooms. Yeah.
I don't know how to explain this, but somebody told me that there are water fountains, and then they also have like a hose, like not a hose, but like a tap thing to fill up your water bottle.
Yes, yeah. There's like whatever. It's like a water fountain, but it's specifically just for your water bottle.
Yeah.
So there's both. Like taller.
A hose is probably not the best way to describe that. You guys probably know what I mean.
Yeah, I was like, a hose? Like, I was thinking like a gardening hose. I was like, what? Okay. I was like, gardening hose. Yeah. So there are going to be more refillable stations, and there's also like a little cafeteria area in the expo hall where you could buy food, and you could buy cold water bottles from there. They'll be in refrigerators or soda. So there is going to be ways to hydrate once you're inside, but while you're outside, and if you drink all your water and you're still needing more water, there's not really a solution or like something that's going to be there. But I think if people complain enough about being in direct sunlight, hopefully they'll be able to arrange, the tent stuff that you mentioned. So we at least have shade, because that will shave off 5 to 10 degrees off of us. Anyway, back to the 5 years ago, because we got distracted by comments. So, did you discover RWBY? You discovered RWBY around Volume 3, didn't you?
I think Volume 3 had just ended around, or basically what happened is that first I met Hunter, and then he was like, hey, you should watch the show RWBY. Season 3 just ended. And I was like, no, this looks stupid. And then a couple months later, he asked again, and I was like, fine. I think I showed him something, and he was like, you owe me because you showed me this thing, and it was awful.
The good old show trade tactic. Yeah.
And then we binged it for the past couple days, and then he was just like, well, Volume 4 is coming out soon, and that was just kind of, that's just kind of what happened.
And then you're like, hey, let's do this for YouTube too.
Yeah. That's Hunter suggested that. He's like, let's make reviews of the episodes. And then it just kind of snowballed into everything that's going on right now, like shipping videos and discussion and being on other people's podcasts.
Yeah. For the podcast. And you also been doing character analysis lately too.
I just started those a couple weeks ago, which I'm really proud of how those are turning out.
I've been watching those in the background for myself. So
yeah. That's how I think most people watch my videos, and I'm glad because that's how I watch YouTube videos. So I'm glad I'm catering to my own demographic.
I'm a little too active in my watching sometimes. It's like, okay, if I'm watching this video, I'm giving it all of my attention. But I don't know. I need to stop doing that so much.
I usually like to play a game or something and then listen to something in the background.
Yeah, because days like yesterday, I end up watching too much stuff, and then it's like, I would like to play video games, but it's 10 p.m. Or, oh, I should have recorded something, but it's 10 p.m. Or I should have edited something, but it's 10 p.m. So I'm in that sort of stuff. Hold on, I'm reading someone's comment about this open carry stuff. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not gonna read that out loud. There's a similar law here in Utah too, but there are areas like convention centers or the mall or schools where you're just not allowed to have that in there. But anyway, yeah, I think 5 years ago for me, I was in my junior year of high school, or like I was ending my junior year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, RWBY came out. Hold on. It came out in 2013. Came out July. Hold on. I need to think. Was I just starting my junior year of high school? No, I was... Yeah, no. It came out right before my senior year of high school. Okay. Sorry, I
had to figure out what 18 minus 5 was earlier, so, like, don't feel bad.
Well, it's like, okay, I was 17, so obviously I'm going into my senior year. Because during my senior year of high school, it's like... Yeah, I guess I wasn't, like, a huge RWBY fan yet, but I did watch it on the day it came out. Which was, like, right before... I remember, because it was, like, right around the time I was deciding to switch high schools. So, for those who don't know, I switched high schools for my senior year of high school.
Oh, man.
It was a double-edged sword.
I almost did that, but I did.
Yeah, it was definitely a double-edged sword, because, you know, it's kind of like ditching everyone you know to go in a completely new environment. And my circumstances for switching were kind of complicated. I used to be on the ballroom team at my other school. I knew a fair amount of people that I was friends with, but the guy that was my best friend, his girlfriend dumped him after a year dating, and he just kind of mentally snapped and like became super obsessive and controlling of her, and was like threatening her to get back with him and like making other threats. And then he became obsessive of me and was like stalking me. Like, I'd be hanging out with someone else and he'd send me a text message like, why are you with them? And that's kind of scary. And like, I'm used to crazy situations like that for some reason, but when it's
understand.
But when it's like your best friend that's doing it, it's like, I'm confused. Like, it's like, okay, I was obviously on his girlfriend's side on like, hey, you need to back off from that, but also it's like, you're supposed to be my best friend. Like, dude, we were supposed to be on the same side. Like, what's going on? And so my anxiety kicked into high gear, because there's also like, you know, scholarship stuff, ACTs, and the SAT as well. And then I also left the ballroom team because everyone on the ballroom team kind of like backstabbed me as well. So it was like I felt like everyone was out to get me, and also just like the school had so much drama, I just left. And I was like, I had two choices: go to the school that had the girl that I was dating at the time, or go to a school that had like more of a closed thing, but like my cousin went there, so I chose to go to that one and had to jump through a lot of loopholes. And then my cousin found out that they got switched schools because they had to drive their brother to school. And
I see.
So then it was like very last minute, I found out I'm going to a school where I know no one. And RWBY and Supernatural were like the two things that kind of got me by during my first semester. So I watched it. Like, I wasn't a big fan of RWBY yet. It wasn't until like volume 2 that I was like, all right, I'm making a Tumblr and I'm gonna be like dedicating to like RWBY memes and stuff like that. So yeah, that
we all had a Tumblr once.
Yeah.
At one point, I still use my Tumblr.
Dude, I haven't touched my Tumblr in like a year almost. Or like, I guess I've gone on bits here and there, and I'll reblog like 5 things, and then I'm inactive for another month. So I don't know. Tumblr became a mess for me, and all the blogs I did like died. So it's like, no one I like is posting anymore, so why am I here?
Yikes.
Yeah. Arnold is saying F that, having a Tumblr.
Oh boy.
I can't blame you, but also there's some stuff you miss out on if you don't have a Tumblr, I'll admit that. Because that's like the meme generator right there. But now it's like Twitter. Twitter is like the new Tumblr almost.
Twitter, it feels like a disaster sometimes. Like, I go on Twitter and it feels like everything is horrible. And like, why do I use this website?
That's about how I feel about Tumblr. Like, why I left Tumblr about a year ago. Also, guys,
always way to keep connected.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm reading Brandon Dodge's comment on like 5 years ago. He was saying, I was 21, and I had just been released from the Air Force, and I kind of hit rock bottom. But after watching RWBY and getting acquainted with Cal and David and Arnold, my life's really got better. And thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I saw Brandon, because I made a video about, like, my own little, like, RWBY retrospective, if you want to call it that.
Oh, yeah?
And, like, Brandon commented, and he's like, Cal, we're in the same boat. And I'm like, good. I mean, not good, because obviously you don't want anybody to, like, sort of, like, go through things, you know what I mean? But it's good that it's a shared experience. Like, a lot of us are in the same boat, and that's comforting.
Yes, it's good to have people that understand where you're coming from, because they, too, have had a similar experience. But on the other hand, you also never want to wish
you don't
people
want them to exactly
go through stuff. Like, this thing that I had go with my friend, like, I do not want anyone to go through. And also, that was, like, very basic Cliff Notes, and also I left out a whole bunch of other drama crap out.
High school's just full of drama. I don't know why. It was like that for me, too. And I remember, like, before I met Hunter, I was at this party, and like, these people were, like, my friends. I hung out with them, whatever, so I didn't need to, like, I don't know, be alone, or whatever you want to call it. And I was like, these people aren't my friends. Like, why am I with these people? And so I just kind of, like, not dropped them, but I just kind of, like, you know, we didn't hang out as much. I left the group, like, stuff like that.
I've done
that
like, so many times.
Man.
I'm
it
always
was just
like...
this weird sort of moment, and, like, I'll never forget it. But then I met Hunter, and I'm like, okay, this is what a real friend looks like, if you want to call it that, I guess.
And then it sucks if you meet someone that's like that, and then you feel betrayed by them at the end. At some point. But I feel like I'm now meeting my new hunters here in Utah.
Yeah.
Like, I just have...
Everybody needs a hunter.
Yeah. I met a few hunters, and luckily they live more locally. Like, I have my online hunters, but... Yeah. Like, you're one of my online hunters, and Arnold's one of my online hunters, but it's nice to have them local, too, so... Yeah.
I mean, Hunter lives across the street, and at this point he's like, that's a little too local for me. He's just like, maybe 10 minutes next time.
One of my local hunters just lives right down the road from me, and we're like, wow, we've been so close proximity, but never knew of each other.
Yeah, so... that's what it was for me and Hunter, too, because basically, like... we both went to Catholic school, and there's two. So there was one near my house, and there was another one that was sort of like in this direction. But Hunter's house was just like on the boundary line, and so they sent him to the other Catholic school. But if he was just like one house over, he would have been like with me, and we would have known each other sooner.
So
but,
he was like in the weird...
It was only when we went to high school, yeah.
So he was kind of like in the weird no man's land?
Yeah,
like where
exactly.
He could have chose?
And he chose wrong.
Gosh, Arnold's just like, did someone say Hunter x Hunter?
Oh, boy.
Oh, man. Gosh. And people are asking, what's a hunter? Hunter is Cal's co-host?
Best friend. Yeah,
best friend.
And my co-host, if you want to call it.
Yeah, he's never been on VYTALCast. He's always been like, I'm not going to stay up late for some stranger, and then he goes home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hunter, like, we finished streaming, and he's like, he's 20 now, and he's like, Cal, I'm getting old. I need to go home, and I need to take a nap, and then I'll have dinner, and then I'll go to sleep.
Oh my gosh. 20-year-old Hunter was 20-year-old me. Okay. Like, I'm in a weird mix right now where I'm like, I'm in the springtime of my youth, but I'm also like, oh man, my back aches. So
I know.
Although I found out my bed was the reason for my back, and I keep thinking about that all the time because, like, a couple of my other friends, they just changed their mattress and now they're sleeping so much better, and I'm like, that's wild. Like, I'm sleeping on the floor right now. Why? No, David. I can't afford a mattress until after RTX. Oh, man. So, RTX is making all of us fucking broke, man. Yeah. Oh, can I swear on the podcast? You have before. You're fine. Like. Oh, okay. I forgot. I censor myself, but you don't need to censor yourself. So. Oops. Demonetized. Yeah. I sure hope not. But. Yeah, no, I'll be getting, like, a purple mattress in, like, 2 months. So, I could do another... I've already done a month on the floor, so I'm fine. Oh, my God. I tried my bed for one night last week, and immediately had, like, pinched nerves the next day. Oh, my God. So it's like, yeah, no, I don't trust... Y'all are falling apart. Yeah, rip. So, anyway, back to the RWBY. Yeah. RWBY was nice, because, like... For me in my senior year, because I was going to a new school where I didn't know anyone, guess who was also going to a new school and didn't know anyone? Oh. Ruby Rose, and it was like Ruby.
That's so cute.
Yeah, it was just like it. Also, like Ruby was like the exact type of girl I would have a crush on during high school.
Aww.
So
David, that's so cute.
I know, like style and everything. I was like, oh, so yeah, because I don't know what scene girls are really cute. I mean, not all of them. No, I'll admit there's some I would not touch with an 18-foot-and-a-half long pole, but some of them I was like, you are just aesthetically very pleasing, but they're always into like weird stuff. So I'm like, no.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's like no. Never. But yeah, okay, Jonathan just says Ruby knows Yang, but also let's remember Yang ditched her for other friends at the very beginning.
That's wild, man.
That was my cousin. What are you saying? Like Yang ditching Ruby is wild?
Yes, exactly. Because it's like, all right, your sister is like clearly like very socially awkward, and somewhat like a klutz or whatever, and like you're just like, but also, where did Yang's friends go? Like, who
they were silhouette characters. We don't care. We don't care about silhouette.
Her friends for her new friends again.
Yeah, we're like,
yikes.
Yeah, we're like, hey, Ruby was on a budget back then. Yang couldn't afford friends. They couldn't afford Yang's friends. They couldn't pay the voice actors, and they couldn't even pay to animate them. So, Connor's saying, David has the most innocent reason to watch at the moment. Yeah. I guess. I'm an innocent person despite having been through not-so-innocent situations in life, so... Arnold's now putting Yang's friends in air quotes. Maybe Yang found out that Ruby is her hunter and ditched the friends for Ruby and Blake and all of them. So, I don't know. I just really, like, resonated with Ruby at the time. And then Jean was almost like also an embodiment of like who I was at the moment too, being like the awkward kid who didn't know how to do anything. And also when you're the new kid at school, you're always like you try to oversell yourself to get friends, and then eventually they realize the real loser you are, and then but so yeah, no joke, actually first week of school got a girl to have a crush on me. 3 months later she didn't care. We didn't end up dating anyways, so it's okay. That girl is now married to a guy that I, like, poked fun at. So she dated, like, a guy that was a year younger, like a grade younger. And I'm like, we're in our senior year. We're going to graduate, and you're going to ditch him for some college guy. Proved me wrong, so congrats.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's kind of romantic, though. Like,
no,
high school.
Like, hashtag goals. Where's my luck? Yeah. Jonathan is saying Jean cheated to get into the school. He is no role model. Well, I also had to go.
He cheated, but he could stick. So
I also had to go through loopholes to get into that school. So,
oh dear.
Like I didn't like fake a manuscript. It was just like I had to make my situation sound really terrible at where I was to let them accept me into an over-occupied school because they had too many students already, and I was like, hey, let me, who doesn't even live in the school district, into this school.
Please let me move here.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Arnold, like, Ozpin definitely let him in, and I'm like, yeah.
he knew the semblance all along. He knew there was potential. What if...
I can see that.
That's an interesting... What if someone's semblance is to just know other people's semblances?
Oh man, this is like that's so like meta.
Like
a
semblance
like,
Sharingan, so to say. Like, wait, have you seen Naruto?
No.
I mean, I'm sure you've seen some sort of anime that is similar to Sharingan, where it's like they could see other people's powers or weaknesses. Or
all I can think about is the Shinigami eyes, like that you can see who else has the Death Note because like their death date doesn't pop
that's
on
close.
Their head.
Yeah, I'll count that.
All right.
So I've only seen the live action Death Note.
Oh, you haven't watched the anime?
So here was my plan. Here was my plan. Here was my plan, and I'm still sticking through with it. I still plan on watching the actual anime, but when they announced the live action, some people were like, now's the time to watch the anime, and I said no. because the live action is going to be a crap show. And if I watch the better version of it first, then it's going to be even less enjoyable. So I'm going to watch the crappy version first, because that way I'll enjoy it slightly more than other people, but then I could watch the better version and enjoy that a whole lot more, because I know the crap show it could have been.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did. I strategized my enjoyment.
Is that what adulting is? Having to strategize your enjoyment?
Oh no, people are like, I'm unsubscribing, and
you're dead to me,
fix
David.
that, you're dead to me. Oh man.
That was the first anime I ever watched. Like
that.
that's what sucked me into like everything.
Yeah, I am trying to fix another anime mistake of mine. Last night I started Cowboy Bebop, and I watched Fooly Cooly last week, so I am moving up my list of anime I'm catching up on. After Cowboy Bebop, I was going to do Gurren Lagann, so yeah, I was told there's a lot of similarities between that and RWBY, because Monty really loved that show. So
I'm like, now that it's like, not a week yet, but like it's getting close to RTX, I'm like, I can't do anything, because all I'm gonna do for the next week is get stuff ready to go.
Yeah, and speaking of stuff getting ready to go, I still need to make Jean armor, and
oh my god!
So it's
y'all are stressing me out,
dude. I'm half tempted to just scrap it altogether, being like, nope, I'm not doing Jean this year. I'll do it next year. That way, I don't rush the armor, and that way I know what like the outside lines look like, and therefore could decide: am I gonna carry the armor in, or am I gonna wear it in? Chances are I'm just gonna suck it up and wear it in, because I'm stubborn. But
I see so many cosplayers being like, I gotta finish or I gotta finish my stuff before RTX, and I'm like, I'm not even like making a cosplay, and y'all are stressing me out.
Hold on, can I go off screen for another 2 seconds?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, because I'll show you what could have happened last year at RTX.
I always get ready the night before. Come on, Arnold. That's not.
So I mentioned I'm sleeping on the floor. So now, what was my bed is just like a storage space.
Oh man.
So I have last year's Jean armor. This is stuff I've all kind of orchestrated in like a few days.
Wait, is that like?
This is supposed to be like the back piece.
No, but I mean, like, the flip it part. Like, it looks like the bottom of a car mat.
Like, it's a floor mat. Thank you very much. It's Eva foam.
Okay.
So these were, like, the shoulder pads and all that. I mean, some of this I'm deciding... Like, these I might recycle for the new Jean. Like, I'll cut them up and redo them. And this was, like, the chest piece. Like, like, I can't wear that to RTX. And looking at this, it's like, even if I start right now, it's not going to be too much better than this. Like, I suck at hands and crafts stuff. And that was all supposed to be supervised by someone who's very good at cosplay. And they're like, oh yeah, I'll walk you through everything. I'll do everything. And then I got there and they're like, you know what? I'm going to be in a completely different room and you're going to just make this on your own. Good luck. And I'm like, thanks. Yeah. It was like, you're supposed to teach me, senpai. You promised me for months. Or even at some point said you were just going to do it for me, but then you're like, no, you're going to do it yourself.
There's no shame in just buying a cosplay guy.
Yeah. The chosen one is like...
You want a cosplay. As long as you don't try to say you made it, like...
Yeah, oh gosh. Oh, and also, like, someone makes your cosplay for you, don't claim you made it yourself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, as long as you own up to the fact it's not yours, just buy it.
Like I bought a Todoroki hero outfit, which just now finally shipped, but it's coming from Russia, and it's no way gonna arrive in time for RTX.
Yeah.
RIP. I did try to buy it early enough so it would, but it's either gonna cut it very close or just not make it. So that's why I bought this. But obviously, I did not put this together.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Some people are saying to wear that armor. And I'm like, no thanks. I'm not going to wear it. I'm also going to do like a very lightweight version of Jean's armor. Just so I don't die in the heat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stoic the Dragon Eater says, I'm going to cosplay as Stoic the Dragon Eater one day, because why wouldn't I cosplay an old D&D character I use as my main persona? And that's a mood right there. Like, I have Naruto OCs I would like to cosplay one day.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, a Naruto OC, and it's a self-insert character. So, there you go.
Somebody made me, like, it's basically just me, like, as a RWBY character, or whatever you want to call it. And I was just like, that's a cool outfit, man. Like, I wish I could do that one day. It's I don't know what it is. I think it's my YouTube profile picture, but there's a bigger version of it where it's like a leather jacket and like big long boots or whatever.
I've seen what you're talking about. I'm just like, AC Gears and Arms made like a fan art of me as a persona character, so like I know how that is. And also shout out to AC Gears and Arms for that awesome fan art, and he's off.
I think he did one for not Larcia, maybe Sheen.
Larissa?
He did, yeah, maybe.
Okay. You said Laricia?
Oh god, I say it wrong every time, and now I've like remembered it incorrectly, and people are like, "Who are you talking about?"
It's just Larissa.
Like, I'm so sorry.
It's fine. It's fine.
But he made one. Maybe it was Amber actually that he made her as a Pokemon character or a Kingdom Hearts character or something. And I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
Like I've needed new channel art for a while now, but I'm like, now I'm broke because of RTX.
Yeah, you gotta make that own. You gotta make the fan art yourself now.
I know.
Budget.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So John Ronald is mentioning Star Trek cosplay is super easy, and my original Jean Arc cosplay. I wish I had a picture of it to like post up, but it's what I wore my first year to RTX. And there was a guy that used to make the Star Trek outfits for the movies, like the ones with the Borgs. I know the guy, or like I know his brother, who obviously knows him, but he offered to make my Jean Arc armor. And I was like, all right, here's like reference pictures, here's like the stuff to use for it, and like they're like, oh yeah, we'll make this, and he literally did just like barely a step up of what I just showed you.
Oh dear.
And I was like, what the heck, dude? All you did was cut out basic shapes. I could have done that. But he was like the costume designer, and like he made like the mechanism of like the thing that clamped on a lady's head or something like that. And I was like, how come you're able to do all that awesome stuff, but you can't make basic armor out of this foam? I don't know. It was kind of weird. So now I'm like only trusting myself or like people that I know that make good cosplay armor to do it. So. Connor says he's gonna cosplay as me. That's awesome. Which also reminds me of a local cosplay friend I just recently met. They cosplayed Jacksepticeye once.
I see.
And they did a musically of Jacksepticeye. And then they were featured in a little known YouTuber's video, PewDiePie, where he was like doing all the musically. It's his musically video where he's like talking about like all these Rick and Morty musically people.
Yeah.
But then for like a whole minute and a half, focused on my friend's video because they were Jacksepticeye.
Oh no.
But he was like, "Hey, Jacksepticeye is my best friend, and he's an actual person, not a character. And you're dressing up and impersonating him as if he is a character," and like kind of like made some jokes. And now that friend just hates PewDiePie and like,
oh no!
Don't you dare mention PewDiePie or Jacksepticeye
like,
around that
when
friend.
When is it my turn? Because I know like Arnold like part of his like it was for a few seconds or whatever, but his reaction was in a PewDiePie video, and I'm like, when is it my turn?
Yeah,
like because you told me that, and I'm like, all of like our friends of our friends are like getting featured in PewDiePie videos. Like, when is it our time? Yeah,
so when I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, now I know two people. And they're like, what do you mean?
That's just uncanny. That's what I'm saying. It's like, there's a pattern going on.
Yeah, and like, Arnold, I believe, likes PewDiePie, and like, PewDiePie didn't personally call out Arnold in particular, but this friend was kind of personally called out. So it's like, for when they mentioned that, I'm like, I love PewDiePie. I have a signed book by him. And like, you're dead to me. I'm like, hey, this is long before any of the controversy happened or any of that, but it was funny.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So sorry, Connor. You just reminded me of that. I'm not saying you can't cosplay me. I would say it's a little weird, but
y'all can cosplay as me if you want.
Yeah. No. Like, go ahead. Like,
if you can pull off a blue curly hair wig, just go for it. I'm getting my hair redyed though, so. Like,
consider this video as me stamping an OK on like cosplaying as me. Like, whereas like I don't think Jacksepticeye ever said anything about it, but yeah. Anyway, I want to go back to RWBY a bit.
Yeah, let's try. David's probably like, man, why did I ask Cal to come on here? We're so off topic.
Oh no, this is just VYTALcast on RWBY's off season.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, no. Once RTX happens, it'll be so much easier to stay on topic about RWBY. Yeah. But you mentioned a video that Brandon commented on.
Yeah.
Do you want to summarize that video? Because you said it was like.
Yeah, it was basically like. The way that I thought about it was kind of like a How I Met Hunter. Like, it was some of that, just because it was like, I don't know, like, I remembered, like, Pyrrha was like, do you believe in destiny, right? That's, like, her sort of last line to Cinder and all that, and sort of, like, and I was thinking about that, and I'm like, there were so many, like, weird, random events that led to Hunter and I meeting each other that even if those events were delayed by a couple seconds, we would have never met, which means I never would have watched RWBY, which means I never made the YouTube sort of that stuff, like existential crisis,
like butterfly effect type stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I was just kind of thinking about that, and like basically at the beginning I kind of like went over like how much the channel has changed my life, or, like my personality and stuff like that. But then the other half was like, if I never met Hunter, like, none of this would be here, and that's scary.
Now I'm thinking about that. I'm like, what would be the one thing that would have changed? Like, if this was not early in my life, I would have probably never discovered RWBY, or, like, discovered RWBY much later and probably would not have the attachment that I do now. And I could root it back to Halo, actually. So, Halo I discovered as, like, a small kid, played it at a friend's house, never allowed to play it myself, but once in like middle school and then like early high school, my friends and I discovered like an abandoned original Xbox, and we played Halo 2 in our grandma's basement. Like, our grandma doesn't live in her house, so like it's just an empty house, and we'll play Xbox there. And we started getting into Halo, and then like end of sophomore year I bought my own Xbox 360, which RIP, the next year they came out with the Xbox One. It's like, so, but, if it wasn't for, like, getting into Halo around that time, that led to, like, Halo Fails of the Week by Achievement Hunter, which then led to, and this was, like, before Achievement Hunter had their own YouTube channel, so they were still on the Rooster Teeth channel, which then led to Red vs. Blue and the Freelancer Saga, which was coming out around that time. Which then caught my eye onto Monty because he made all the amazing fight scenes during the Freelancer Saga. Which then came the Red trailer for RWBY, which of course opens up with created by Monty which I'm like, I'm gonna keep an eye out for this show. And then later, RWBY came out, and I followed it. That's weird. Okay.
I don't know how Hunter got into things, but I think that he was sort of the same. Like, he just found Rooster Teeth and like every like facet of Rooster Teeth, and eventually he got into RWBY, and that was kind of that. So for him, it's not so dramatic, but like, I explained this in the video, but Hunter and I basically met because some other kid complimented my Kingdom Hearts backpack, and for some reason I didn't say anything back to them, and I felt bad, like, because it was the end of the day, we were all rushing out, so I heard them, I walked right past them, and then I processed what they said, and I was like, oh, that was very rude. And like, I was just like sort of obsessed with finding this like one person, because like people did not enjoy me talking about Kingdom Hearts at all, and so like eventually that person was sitting like with Hunter next semester, and then I went over there, and that's how Hunter and I met. So I'm like, if like that meeting was just delayed by a couple seconds, or like, what if I stopped to tie my shoe? What if I went another way? Or
if no one was brave enough to randomly compliment a Kingdom Hearts
I know,
backpack.
that's what I'm saying, like, and I'm like, that's wild. And that's where I get, that's like what I think about at night, like butterfly effect.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting that you said like he discovered the different facets of Rooster Teeth before RWBY. Like for me, like obviously I knew about Red versus Blue, but I only saw like seasons, like parts of 8, probably all of 9, and then like parts of 10. And it wasn't until like after I really got into RWBY around the time Volume 2 came in that I started getting into all of Rooster Teeth.
Yeah.
And I started watching the RT podcast. I like started watching the Let's Plays by Achievement Hunter, not just the Fails of the Week. And eventually they stopped doing Fails of the Week, which was sad, but apparently it wasn't getting the views it used to. So, rip. But now I'm just like all out Rooster Teeth person, and my birthdays are Rooster Teeth themed because well, it all started with 2015 when I turned 19, and there's a Sundance Film Festival like not too far away from where I live, like an hour away, that happens every year, and there's like all the indie films and like sometimes bigger films come there. But YouTube decided they were inviting Bernie Burns and the Fine Brothers to come like represent YouTube for a panel. And I was like, oh, sweet, I'm going to go meet Bernie Burns, and Ashley Jenkins was there. So I wasn't allowed in the building because technically it was a club, even though it wasn't actively being a club at the time thanks to Utah law.
I see.
Because I was not 21, I wasn't allowed in the building.
Oh, right.
So my mom watched the panel and like took notes for me and all of that, and I walked around the street for like an hour waiting for the panel to be over, and it's like 30-degree weather up in the mountains. But I met like the Fine Brothers, and I met like Mr. Guitar Man, and like the guy that plays Ben in Parks and Rec. So like I met all these other people, and then I met Bernie, and Bernie was like, oh, hey, your mom told me it's your birthday today, and like he pulled me in by his arm, and I watched the first cut of the Laser Team trailer. Like the Laser Team trailer wasn't even finished. Like Michael Jones, when he's jumping in the trailer, you could still see the wires that are holding him up in that version. Man. Like seriously, like none of the special effects were in. Like Bernie, when he holds up his shield, it was just like a little green thing and like nothing. So very, very unfinished.
That sounds very cool though.
Yeah, and I was really excited because I was like, oh, you know, like it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna be showing more at like RTX, and I was like, yeah, I'll plan on going to RTX. And then it was like just a week or so after that, the news of Monty going into the hospital came in. And, you know, then he passed away. But that was like kind of also how I met some of my online friends, like Shane and like Logan and some other people, was through the RWBY forum on the Rooster Teeth site saying, hey, we're going to do a group watch of RWBY while we're, and like talk to each other and make sure we're all okay. And so that's how I met a lot of people. And it was funny because Steven, one of the people I met through that group, he and I bumped into each other at RTX 2016 while waiting in an autographs line. We were waiting for like Gus Rolla and Joel Heyman, I think, and he was just standing next to me, and I'm just standing there, and he looks at me, he's like, David? I'm like, Steven? And it was pretty great. So yeah, anyway, I'm seeing like the chat just go crazy now.
Yeah,
sorry, I go on my long tangents about stuff sometimes.
It's alright.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know, just talking about like how I discovered RWBY and all of that just like brings back a lot of old memories and some emotions. But
that was like the one thing for me is like, because Hunter already knew at that point that like Monty had died, because I think it was because again we were after
it happened after Volume 2. Yeah,
so he already knew that, but he didn't tell me until after. And so I was like, okay, like I'm gonna follow all these people on Twitter, like I want to like catch up on their entire lives because I've been out of this fandom, right? And he was like, no, like Cal, like I have to tell you something. And he basically kind of like ran me through some videos, and I just like I remember crying, and it's for this person that I didn't even know, I guess, because we had just watched the show, and it like Hunter was just like, are you okay? And I was just like, I don't know why, but I guess like it just got me all emotional because you just watch this thing that somebody made, and then you find out that they're gone before you even got a chance to know them. You know what I mean? Like,
and like I remember like when he was in the hospital and then like passed, a lot of the fandom was like, oh, guess RWBY's never gonna finish, then like a lot of us were just like, well, guess RWBY's over, and like there was a lot of unease, and like we're like, oh, and it wasn't until like Miles and Carrie were like, hey, don't worry, Monty left like a roadmap to the end of RWBY. And like RWBY does have a definitive end. We do know like the basic plot points of how we're gonna get there and things that need to happen. And we already did so much work on Volume 3. We're gonna finish Volume 3 and continue from there. And then of course with Volume 3 just being so phenomenal, people just started sharing RWBY like crazy. Like, hey guys, like a lot of it was just like out of the love of Monty, where we're just like, hey, you gotta sit down and watch RWBY with us. And some other people that I met, like that's how they got into RWBY, was their friend was like mourning Monty, and they're like, why are you so sad? And like, come watch RWBY with me, and like maybe you'll get a reason of like why I'm sad. And that's how that friend got into RWBY. And it was a rough time, but it was also like a time that I hold very dear, because that's when I met a lot of people, and now that I talk to them or like look forward to going to RTX to see them in person and all of that. So that I just hated circumstances about it, but yeah. And John Ronald saying Volume 3 is where it really exploded and took off. And yeah, I mean, it was just Volume 3 was amazing, but it was also because, you know, it was like the last thing Monty worked on, so people really wanted to pay respects to that. So anyway, do you have anything you want to talk? Or...
not particularly.
Okay.
I just think like it's good to see how the community has grown and how it's brought people together, and I think that that's kind of like the good like part about RWBY blowing up, is there's just a lot more people to share it with and a lot more of us to hang out with and be friends with and stuff like that. So
yeah. And Jonathan said something that I don't know exactly how I want to answer, but he said there still hasn't been a volume as hype as Volume 3. And for me, hype is always like the anticipation of something coming out.
Yeah.
And for me, like a lot of the hype or excitement from Volume 3 didn't happen till after Volume 3 had finished. Like that wasn't until that wasn't like people before Volume 3 came out were very skeptical and very worried of like, okay, how's this gonna be? And the first couple episodes still didn't have people completely convinced, you know?
Yeah.
And because some of those early tournament fights were not super stellar to what we were used to. And but Volume 4, on the other hand, I would say the hype was like over the mountain for, with the RWBY versus the Harambe Grimm. That trailer had a lot of people excited, and then I think Volume 4 Chapter 1 is still one of the most watched videos of RWBY on YouTube and the Rooster Teeth site. Because whenever I watch RWBY, here, I'm just gonna double check myself, on the Rooster Teeth site, whenever I go into like RWBY and I click on an episode, and it'll always show in the suggested like RWBY Volume 4 Chapter 1.
Yeah.
So I think that's still like one of the most watched episodes ever.
And I think at the same time, like, hype is, I don't want to say it's relative, but the thing is, like, that's a season that changed the entire course of the show as we know it, sort of thing. Like, they're not going to be in school anymore, like, all of that sort of stuff. Like, this is changing everything, you know what I mean? And so I can see why we may not reach that place again. Yeah, exactly.
So,
there's
like,
also that too.
So, like, visually, RWBY very improved. Volume 4, combat-wise, was meh for a lot of people, but Volume 5 kind of brought that back a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's just consistency we need now.
Yeah.
Which was another thing people said about Volume 3, because the earlier fight scenes were not that great, but then you had, like, Pyrrha versus Cinder, which was, like, over-the-top amazing. So, I don't know. A lot of people that give Volume 4 and 5 so much hate that I'm like, none of that's, like, special for those two seasons. Like, the other three were guilty of those same criticisms a lot, too. I don't know. Sorry, after
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Well, also
It's
just
like I think it's a nostalgia thing too. Like like it was 5 years ago, and obviously it wasn't necessarily for me, but for a lot of people, if they watched it 5 years ago, like if I was like I've watched stuff when I was 13 that I thought was like, you know, just amazing, and maybe it still is, but maybe now looking at it when I'm 18, I'm like, oh no. You know what I mean? Like we always remember things fonder than you know.
I am very much that way with movies. Like there were some movies that I back then were like, this is a great movie, and you know I'll die by it. Like okay, Transformers. Transformers was one of them. Now rewatching Transformers, the first one's good, or okay at least. The second one, which I remember defending a lot as a kid, just because I loved fight scenes. Rewatching it, I was like, this movie's just a mess.
Yeah.
So I totally get what you're talking about there. But I guess like some people they just go after Volume 4 and 5 so much because there's no Monty. And so I don't know. There's always that skepticism or I don't know why people like I think they forget Miles and Carrie were writing just as much now as they were back in Volume 1 and 2. So it's just like I don't know. And some people I don't want to call out anyone specific, but there was a video I was watching that criticized when in the Blake trailer when someone shot at Blake hid her face behind the blade of her Gamble and Shroud to block the bullet.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you know, logically that makes no sense. And it's like, well, yeah, but it's also an anime and you're trying to make stuff look cool. The best realistic thinking would have been to just turn to the side and dodge the bullet altogether and not even bother trying to block it. But then... And
it's also like, these are like dust bullets, like if you want to call it that. Like it seems like it's a little different. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. That seems silly.
Yeah, that... But then, if you were going to block it, trying to block lower is so much harder than to block in front of you. Because you don't... from like angle wise, you don't exactly know how high or high low it's gonna get until you level yourself to the same level of the bullet. So it's a lot easier to actually block in front of your face than it is to, you know, lower the blade here or there. Yeah. But it's also just easiest to move out of the way of the bullet. But with anime and TV shows, they gotta make stuff look cool, and that's not always logical. So and they don't plan people to just freeze frame stuff and like point out little things because things are meant to be seen in motion, not stand still. But yeah, I don't know. Some people just you saw Miles' tweet earlier this week, right?
Yeah, I did.
I don't know. I'm just salty with what people replied to me because I wasn't trying to stir a pot or anything. I was just trying to like give Miles a pat in the back where I think it deserved it, and people are like. Because I think Volume 4 did a great job of character development for Weiss. Yeah. And then people were like, where's the character development?
I saw somebody was like, what character development? And I was like, what? I don't have enough hours in the day to explain. I was going to jump in on your thread. And
I wish you did. I was just hoping a whole lot of fools would jump on that person and be like, did you watch Volume 4? Like... Because before Volume 4, the fandom was pretty divided on Weiss. Like, whether to like her or not. Because some people were like, she's a total brat. And some people were like, I love her despite that. And then Volume 4 united everyone. Yeah. Like, almost everyone's like, Weiss is queen. Pure waifu material. So, like, my friends Mina and Ashley, so Ashley has watched RWBY. Mina is trying to get through RWBY, but she hates Weiss so much right now. No. But she's like in the middle of Volume 2. Yeah. So Weiss is still in the it's okay to not like her stage. Yeah. And
they'll get there.
They're getting there ever so slowly. It doesn't help that this person's an animation major, and they're just looking at the animation very early RWBY and being like, ugh. Yeah. It's like, hey, if you can make it to Volume 3, that's when animation looks good, pretty well, and then Volume 4 onward looks really...
They just upgrade.
Yeah. But, Weiss, like, one of the best examples of character development I could think of.
Yeah.
Period. Oh, and Hunt SD is saying Weiss and Yang had best story in Volume 4.
I think that they've been developed the most, and they've been developed the best, if you want to put it that way, I guess.
I totally agree. And then, like, again with Volume 5, I think it's, like, Blake and Yang that had the most to do.
Yeah.
And, like, did the most stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad for RWBY, though.
Yeah.
Just kind of back burner for
that was my whole character analysis video. I was like, come on, RWBY. Like, let's go.
Come on. Come on. Do you ever get... how do you view RWBY? Do you view RWBY as the main character, or do you view, like, Team RWBY as the...
No. Like, I think I would consider them, like, all main characters because they're a unit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, it's weird.
I'm a terrible fence sitter on this, where it's like, yeah, I think the 4 of them are the main focus of the show, therefore they're all 4 main characters, but RWBY is the leader of Team RWBY, and she was also our introduction to the world. Yeah. And therefore she's a little bit more main character than the other 3. Yeah. But
it's also, like, revolving point of view as well. Like, I mean, that doesn't make them any less main characters, but it's like they're trying to give all of them some, like, their own, like, angle of it, if that makes sense. Like, it's what's RWBY's point of view, and then it kind of went to everybody's different, right?
Which is why Volume 4 was, like, so genius, I think. Was because it's like, the other 3 did not get, like, their time to shine or, like, character development moments. And that's why having them separated and focusing on them as individuals was really great. Yeah. And I look forward to Volume 6 on having them as a unit again. Yeah. Because I miss their interactions.
Because it was nice to see them apart, like, for a while, but then it's like, oh, like, this is sad. Like, dude, what happened to them being together?
Yeah, the Volume 5 finale had me cry because it, like, hit me, like, I'm like, it's been 2 years since we've seen them all together.
That's a long time.
I was like, it's been so long? I hurt now? What? Like, I don't know why that didn't hit me rewatching the other 3 volumes, being like, oh yeah, the four of them are together. Then I guess it's just like, it's new and they're together? Yeah. So...
We've been watching the Japanese dub, and I was like, wow, I don't remember a lot of stuff, and then second, like, oh my god, like, they interact! Like,
yeah, is the Japanese dub good?
I like it. Like, I mean, this is the thing. Like, people are like, the subs are better than the dubs, like, when it comes to other anime, but I'm like, you don't know what they're saying. Like, you know what I mean? Unless you speak Japanese, like, you don't know.
Can't
like,
tell
their
what's
tone
good or
could
bad
be totally
acting.
Wrong. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, like, as far as I know, they all sound good, and they all seem alright. Like, and I like some of the voice changes. Like, Jean sounds a lot different. Like, and so does Sun.
Is it deeper voice, or...?
It's like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's not necessarily deeper, but there are some moments where, like, it makes sense for him to have a deeper voice, and, like, some moments where he's back to being an
yeah, that makes sense.
Call it that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been watching a lot of dubs lately. I mean, My Hero Academia I watched subbed mostly, but I just barely got Verve, so now I've been trying out the dubbed version. Yeah. Dub is not that bad. So I'm still trying to get used to Deku's voice. Yeah. But other
that's
than
the one that took a while for me. I was like, oh god. But
yeah. Like, I don't think his voice is bad. It's just I'm not used to it. And when you read subtitles, you kind of make your own voice for each character. Yeah. You kind of take what you hear and try to make it something you know and understand. Yeah. Which I think is another reason why when people go from sub to dub, they're like, oh, this is terrible, because they already built their own version of what it sounds like. Also, Brandon Dodge, he's going back to the RWBY topic about Ruby Rose. He said, I actually understand RWBY's character quite a bit. I tend to internalize things and focus on the future and try not to linger in the past. But sometimes I do, and when I do, it tears me up. And I totally understand that, because after my dad died, that was totally me. But, like, I also did it to the point where I just had no emotion at all. And it still takes me a while to, like, understand how to express emotion, or, like, understand others' emotion sometimes. Like, a lot of people say I'm really empathetic, but part of me is like, no, I really don't understand my own emotions still, so it's hard to understand other people's emotions.
Yeah. Well, that's something that, like, in the character analysis video I talked about a bit. Like, they could play off, like, because people are like, why didn't she ask about the silver eyes? Like, they could play that off as her being, like, scared that she doesn't want to know, and, like, you know, her mom seemed to die because she had silver eyes. Like, all of that sort of stuff could be, like, she's trying to avoid asking and, like, all that. So it's like, what people see as problems now could easily be remedied in the future.
Yeah, totally.
Fine, I guess.
And that's actually... that's actually something that, you know, the Cracked video I mentioned before we went live?
Yeah.
So that actually... the Cracked video actually kind of calls that out a bit on, like, things don't have an ending in movies nowadays sometimes because they're always anticipating like a sequel.
Yeah.
And he's like, but there's a way to do a correct cliffhanger and still like give something an ending but something to anticipate next, or you know, but now with RWBY we very much like leave stuff so open-ended sometimes it doesn't feel like we have an ending, or like or they'll like give questions but then like be like, oh, we'll answer that later. And the Silver Eyes is definitely like okay, we have questions, but we're not going to answer that till later because we know there's going to be more episodes or more seasons coming out.
And I feel like that's just, I don't want to say that's a TV problem because like some TV shows wrap up their seasons pretty well, but I think it's just the nature of having the time that they have. Like if RWBY was a book, like volumes 1 to 3 would be book 1, you know what I mean? And then volumes 4 to 6 would be book 2, you know what I mean? And so whatever answers you got, like RWBY not asking about the Silver Eyes or whatever you want, like that would be like sort of a midpoint, a mystery that you find out at. But the thing is, like, I don't know, with things how they are now, like that's just the nature of
and
like TV in general, but also, you know, their limited time.
Yeah, and what you were saying about them remedying it, they could also have it tied in. You were mentioning it could also be tied into like her mom and all that. And RWBY's not a dumb person.
Okay.
Hi, Cal's mom. I don't know if that was your mom. I just took a guess.
Yeah, it was. She was just like, "Do you want me to make you a bagel and bring it down here?" And I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "Mom, I'm doing a podcast. All right, I'll eat later." And now she's just like, knock, knock, like, oh, you said 9 o'clock. It's 9:30.
Oh yeah.
It's time to eat.
Yeah, sorry. We could wrap this up real quick.
No, that's okay. I'm just saying, like, in her mind, she's probably like, "Y'all late."
Yeah. No, like, with Semblance of Sanity, we accidentally went, like, 2.5 hours.
I feel that, but, like, I could talk forever, that's the problem.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, like, RWBY's not a dumb person. Like, she got into Beacon early for a reason, and she reads lots of books. Well, I mean, she said that, at least.
Yeah.
And I bet she put, like, 2 and 2 together, like, oh, my mom died or is missing in action, and I have Silver Eyes, and she had Silver Eyes too.
Yeah, like she knows how the fairy tales go. Right? Yeah, that's what she read, so it's like. And
she's probably scared of asking about the Silver Eyes because it's gonna dig up a lot of emotions she'd rather not face.
Yeah.
Like, because with the 5 stages of mourning, you can repeat those cycles, and even like revert stages sometimes. So she's probably like, I don't want to do that again, or like she's probably still stuck in denial somewhere and doesn't want to like go through the others. So, and
like somebody in my comment section like earlier on that was like, if I can find it, but basically it was like, but RWBY doesn't need Summer, like she doesn't remember her or anything. She probably didn't mourn her, and I'm like, that doesn't sound like that's how this works. You know what I mean? Because I was like, because I understand, I guess, what they meant, because, like, they said, like, RWBY doesn't know Summer. I doubt she has a single memory of the woman, so why make a big deal out of it? And I'm like, no, that's not how that works.
No, because that could still be a traumatizing thing for a kid, to just have a parent randomly disappeared and, like, not understand what's going on. And
even if she doesn't remember her, she knows she had a mom, and now she doesn't. Like, I'm sure it's like, you know.
Like, I've forgotten a lot of stuff about my dad. I still remember certain things and stuff about him, but, you know, he died when I was 9, and some people are like, oh, well, you're over that now, right? And I'm like, no, it still goes through my head every day. Like, it still affects my day-to-day life, even though it's been 13 years. I don't know. I mean, my situation was a bit different than hers, just because, like, I don't know. I don't want to go into details about my situation too much, but it's like, no, I could see why she doesn't want to talk about it and all that. And Ozpin bringing up her silver eyes in the first episode, I could see her kind of even being, like, in the back of her head being bothered by that, because it's like, oh, that's a thing I got from my mom, and, like, people are seeing me because of my mom, not because of me. So I could understand from my standpoint, because family reunions are my least favorite, because everyone goes, oh, you look just like your dad. It's like, I don't know my dad. Please stop bringing him up. Like, I don't know.
But yeah, they replied to me again after I was like, but I don't know. Like, everybody's obviously entitled to their opinion, but I'm like, everyone's different, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna affect everybody differently, and so I was just like, I don't know. Like, maybe some people prefer that they not, but, like, I don't know. Generally, I would say that's gonna affect a child, so it only makes sense for them to do it, in my mind.
And, you know, there's one piece of evidence that we have in every episode of RWBY that she's still attached to her mom.
Yeah.
She has her hood. Like, if she didn't care about her mom, she would not be wearing the hood at all.
Exactly.
And like, Brandon Dodge was saying, like, well, Summer was gone before RWBY could even talk. And, just from, like, studying psychology for so many years, I do know, like, something could happen super early and totally stunt your growth mentally early on. And losing a parent is definitely on that list, whether or not.
I think it's also, like, she still goes to the grave and, like, visits, so obviously, you know, she's did that at the beginning of Volume 3. She talked to her mom, so obviously it bothers her. I guess bothers isn't the right word, but enough to have an imaginary conversation with her. You know what I mean?
And she grew up, like, hearing stories from Ty about her mom, and, like her mom was kind of an inspiration for her to become a huntress too, being like, oh, mom was like a superhero, I want to become a superhero and, like, fight all the monsters and protect people and do all that.
And it would be kind of interesting because Yang remembers and she doesn't, not like necessarily to be jealous, but sort of be like you got two moms and I didn't even get one, you know what I mean? Because obviously she still has Raven alive. Like, that would be kind of a weird conflict, but also, like, I don't know, like, maybe I could see that being something that would end up happening, not necessarily being mad at Yang, but, like, Yang doesn't seem to want to reconcile with Raven, and, like, RWBY could be like, well, you have another chance, I don't.
I could definitely see that being a thing, and I could see that being more of an issue in Volume 6 or even 7, just because we know that Raven is sort of keeping tabs on Ty now, and it's thinking about talking back to him. I could see her talking to Ty again, bringing up a conflict like that with Yang and RWBY.
Yeah.
But I could also say, just don't even touch it as well, because, like, RWBY already has so much on its plate as a show.
Yeah.
And so much that we should rather be focusing on, like, forwarding the plot and conflict with Salem.
I feel like if they had more time, though, they could take, not a break, but they could take time, but, like, it kind of depends what they're doing now, because, like, last year they added 2 more episodes. Like, maybe they'll just keep adding until they get to 20, like a regular anime, or
not to mention, like, the length as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've been keeping tabs on my channel at all, but I've always been an advocate for, hey, now that there's Genlock, how about we, like, alternate years? Like, 1 year's Genlock here, next year's RWBY,
like,
or, like,
hiatus, but...
or, like, just take longer breaks, or even bring on more people for the writing team, so you could have certain people focus on episodes.
You like this?
Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry.
She's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, RWBY. And she's like, not Marvel. And I'm like, no. And she's like, not Star Wars. And I'm like, no.
We talking about that weeaboo crap.
Yep. Exactly.
Man, yeah.
Oof for Cal, yeah. Hi, Kaylin's mom.
Yeah.
Jonathan's like, Hunter, sit down, have a fajita, because my mom brought us a plate, and Hunter was like, no, I'm alright, like, Nancy, I don't want any, and my mom was like, alright.
Oh,
like, no,
wait.
You're gonna eat!
I've
like,
seen that. I've seen that.
It was one of our My Hero Academia videos.
Yeah, I've seen that, yeah. Because it was like, oh, you guys are finally getting to My Hero Academia, which... If I remember correctly, you weren't all too for at first?
No, I wasn't. And then I warmed up to it. Like, I had a fan problem, like, with people commenting on videos. And so it wasn't necessarily the show, but I'm like, why am I doing this? People are gonna
That's how I was with Attack on Titan.
But then people still never. Yeah, that happened to me with Attack on Titan too, and I actually stopped those ones. But, like, Hunter was like, but I like My Hero Academia. And I was like, okay, we'll keep going, you know what I mean?
Well, it just took me forever to just get into Attack on Titan because people were like, it's the best thing ever, and it was like just so overly popular that my brain was just like, nope, I'm not gonna watch this. Like, for whatever reason, my brain sometimes goes into, it's popular, therefore I'm not gonna watch it.
Yikes.
Or like, it's popular, therefore I don't like it. Like, I'm less like that now, but like, I had to like restart Attack on Titan a few times till I finally liked it.
I have, like, the whole ensemble upstairs, like, the white pants, the cloak, the jacket, like, I got the belts or whatever, the maneuvering gear, like, I was, like, really into it, so I had a cosplay. That's
really cool. Yeah, I want to do one of those soon, because my cosplay friends all do that as well, and they're like, oh, you'd be the perfect, like, Jean or Erwin. I'm like, okay, I'll do that, because I'm, like, the white guy out of the group. I'm the only guy, period, but Arnold's saying he hasn't seen...
like, people were like, oh, well, who are you supposed to be? Because obviously my hair's dyed or whatever, and I'm like, I'm just me, alright? I'm not cosplaying as a character.
You're an OC.
It's me in the cosplay.
You're a self-insert OC. Yeah. Exactly. It's like my Naruto self-insert OC, so... Which is also a Mary Sue, because I have, like, all the same jutsus as all the characters.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So Arnold's saying he hasn't seen My Hero Academia yet. And I say now's a pretty good time to get into it. Just because of where we're at in season 3.
I think he wants to react to it though, and I'm like, y'all have 2 weeks before our team. And then after it's all RWBY stuff, I'm like, Arnold's not gonna be free for the next, like, year.
Yeah. Yeah. Arnold says nah. Yeah, because I was like, hey, Arnold, I'm thinking about doing, like, a movie or show night sometime during the RTX weekend, whether it's, like, I'm probably thinking, like, Sunday night. Yeah. But, like, I was like, we could do some My Hero Academia. but he just said, nah, you mentioned the reaction stuff, so I'm like, oh, yeah, no, that won't work then for My Hero. Yeah. Arnold has a tough time with time management, I noticed.
Oh, dear.
Oh, well,
y'all calling out Arnold in the stream,
hey, like, look at my channel. Most of my activity for the last month has been live streams. Like, I'm on the same bus as Arnold. So.
I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like the first couple months of the summer I was, like, distracted, and then, like, people that were distracting me were like, oh, I guess I guess I have to do my work now, and so now I'm forced to, like, do work as well.
Although I have to give you and Hunter props, because you've been, like, consistently putting
we've been grinding the past couple weeks, and now I'm like, oh, well, we've done all the videos we need to do before RTX, now I can relax.
I miss the days when I did that. Like, I used to be able to
you work full-time, I'm at home all the time, don't you?
Yeah. I like working full-time.
Must be nice to have a job.
Yeah, I mean, it must also be nice to, like, have a Patreon where you get good amounts of money too. Yeah. Yeah. Because, like, I used to do, like, 2 videos a day on Halo. Like, it'd just be me playing a match of Halo, and then, like, I upload it. I'll do small edits here and there, and then I'll upload it. But now it's like, I do heavier edits, and even, like, pre-plan what the video is gonna be. And I guess I'm trying to make higher quality stuff, and that's why it take longer. Yeah. And a couple
of people suggested, because, like, I'm, like, all my footage gets copyrighted, like, because when the first theory I made had footage from the show and it got blocked, and I was like, well, I'm not doing that again. And somebody was like, Cal, have you ever considered doing, like, a slideshow? And I was like, that's not a bad idea. Like, to have, like, pictures on the screen or whatever, screenshots, instead of just gameplay footage, even if they're fancily edited.
That's what I did for My Hero Academia. I did a My Hero Academia review, and I had, like, slideshow pictures that'll slide on screen with me, but I need to catch up on that stuff now. Again, another thing that I'm like, I want to do a high quality thing of, but I don't have the time. And also, like, RWBY Chibi's out again.
That's what's catching up to all of us. It's the time.
I need to start doing RWBY Chibi reactions again. And it's just...
we do them in bulk. Like, Hunter and I did 9, 10, and 11 all for tomorrow. Oh, like, man. Instead of doing them singularly or whatever, and I'm just like, get it done.
Yeah. Oh, man. When I get together with you, Someone's a Sanity, and some other people, I need to talk about, like, hey, guys, how do you manage your time? What does your day look like? And how can I do that on a smaller scale?
My day is a disaster.
Yeah. Yeah, because I take way too long to, like, record stuff. Like, my original My Hero Academia review, I think I took 2 hours to record. Like, just to, like, keep recording it over and over again to be like, okay, this was a good one. But, yeah. Oof. Now RTX is coming up, so...
I know.
Gotta do extra stuff.
I know. I have to pack, and okay, so this is a weird anecdote, but I hate t-shirts. I know I'm wearing one right now, but don't let it fool you. I'm not happy about it.
Yeah.
And so Rooster Teeth doesn't have any RWBY tank tops, and I'm like, that is very unfortunate and sad. So I bought a bunch of RWBY shirts, and my mom's like, I'm gonna teach you how to sew, and we're gonna hem in and make these muscle shirts. Or whatever. Really? We're gonna hem the t-shirt sleeves, and I'm like, okay, Mom. And so that's what we're doing. Like, that's how desperate I am not to have that be a thing.
Yeah. Oh man.
And like a couple of people are like, Cal, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, all right, listen, if they sold tank tops, none of this would have happened. But like, they're in like the hottest part of like anything. Like, I hear like Austin is literal hell, and so I'm like, why don't you guys sell like tanks or any of that?
Hold on, I'm checking the RT store right now. Because I'm like, I swear I saw some sort of tank top.
Well, they just had one today for RTX, and they were like, oh, this is going to be exclusive at RTX. And I was like, thank God.
They're like, hey, guys, you're going to be waiting outside. You might want this. But
I mean, they had it on a male model, though, so I'm like, hopefully that's, like, generally just unisex.
They should... They got a striped dress. Oh, that's the Barbara Dunkelman collection, but... That's a dress, not necessarily a t-shirt. Oh, the Pumpkin Pete hoodie isn't $60 anymore? It's $45. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I've just been procrastinating on buying that because it was $60. I'm like, I'm not paying $60 for that.
I understand that.
There's a Some Anime t-shirt. Dude, I'm gonna buy that at RTX. Oh, also, like, at RTX, I go clothes shopping. Like, I just go to the RT store booth, which is, like, a big section of the expo hall floor, and you could just shop around. But
that's sort of the problem with me, is that I went to a uniform school for basically, like, all of my high school years, and so I just don't have any clothes. And, like, I got through, like, all of university this year with just sweatpants and... like hoodies or whatever, which isn't bad because it's Canada. And then in the summer, I've basically just been in my pajamas, like, dude, inside. And so I'm like, I have no clothes for RTX. I have nothing. And so I bought all the t-shirts from the Rooster Teeth store.
Yeah. Oh man. Like, I mean, like I mentioned, like every birthday for the last couple of years for me have been like Rooster Teeth themed. So I've been like getting Rooster Teeth shirts each year. I'm trying to find like some sort of like anything that is a tank top, but I'm not finding anything.
You won't.
Oh, okay. So they have two different versions of the Pumpkin Pete hoodie. There's the long sleeve and the short sleeve. Short sleeve is $45. Long sleeve is $55. So I think it was the $55 that I was thinking of when I was saying $60. Yeah, I'm not... Okay, I thought I saw, like, baby clothes for a second. I'm like, they got baby clothes, but not tank tops?
Man.
Yeah. That's... Okay, well, I guess you're right. They only have...
We learned something new.
Yeah, maybe if I categorize it to women's... I mean, they got leggings, but that's not, like, tops.
Yeah. Leggings isn't, like, helpful, though, for Austin, because it's like, oh my god, we're gonna die.
Yeah, you're gonna die.
Here.
Oof. They got lucky to model the Ruby Rose leggings. I'm like, I love Lucky. She's a beautiful girl. But I stand no chance. So wait, why is Stoic saying something about legally? Legally about what?
Legally we have to, and then he's replying to, that's what you guys always say.
What do we always say?
I have no idea what's going on.
I don't know. Like you could always do My Hero Academia reaction, sips coffee casually.
Oh, maybe that's like, legally, as a My Hero Academia fan, we are required.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would always
Arnold's way too busy, leave him alone.
Yeah, and also, like, shows are not fun when they're forced onto you.
Yeah. That was my other problem with My Hero Academia, is it started out as, like, paid Patreon videos, and that's fine. I like money, I'll watch that, but it's like, that, and then... Somebody paid me to watch this, but now y'all are yelling at me. That's sending some mixed signals.
I understand that all too well. I did 2 paid reaction videos. Well, not paid, but they were requested.
Yeah.
I did, like, Team Fortress 2 reaction videos to, like... I don't know. It was just 2 videos. And at the beginning of both videos, I say, I do not play the games. I do not know the characters. I played Overwatch. That's closest to Team Fortress 2 I've got. And people mansplain the characters and the powers to me in the comments. And it's also, like, the most popular videos on my YouTube channel as well. So I'm like,
oh boy.
I hate this so much. And, like, almost every comment is like, the Deathringer does this? I'm like, yeah, there's 50 other comments saying that. Get in line, buddy.
I made a joke about how I didn't like Aaron was boring or something, like when I was reacting to the second Attack on Titan season, and like people jumped on that, and I was like, guys,
you know, I don't like Aaron.
I'm just joking.
He's a bad main character.
I agree, but I was just like, hey, when I said it, it wasn't that serious. It doesn't mean I don't think it. But like... Also, Attack on Titan did one thing that was severely disappointed to me, like, within the first 5 episodes. They killed off Eren, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be one of those shows. Like, we don't know who's going to live and who's going to die. But I also thought it was going to, like, switch perspectives at that point. I thought it was going to go focus on Mikasa, who was so much more interesting. And I was like, oh, this is actually Mikasa's show. Yes, I'm all for this. This show's not going to have superpowers. It's going to be more grounded in reality, despite giants. Next episode. Eren's still alive because of superpowers. And I was like, I'm betrayed. But yeah, it's still a good show. But yeah, I'm going to try it again. Give it another chance this time, I think. But...
yeah. I'm not going to do reactions to it. I'm just going to stick to, like, Rooster Teeth stuff for reactions, because...
I think right now, like, it's so, like... Because I have a core 4 going on, like, RWBY, KH, Miraculous Ladybug, and then My Hero Academia, and, like, eventually one of these things is gonna stop for a while and dry out, and maybe then I can replace it with something else, because I think My Hero Academia is halfway now. Halfway? It's episode 13, so it's a bit halfway through season 3.
Oh, yeah, through the season, yeah.
And so, eventually, like, something's gonna stop.
Yeah, and then you'll have to do something to fill in that season's dry time.
And Genlock's coming, and I'm really excited for Genlock, because I love Michael B. Jordan.
Dude, you know what I'm so excited for with Genlock? Just so much. Like, 1, it's a mecha anime, and it looks amazing. I'm all for that. Michael B. Jordan, yes. Dakota Fanning, so much. Yes. Who was the guy that voiced the Japanese Cowboy Bebop character? Yes. And also, it comes out in January, the month of my birthday. Yes. Like, finally something cool comes out around my birthday. And I hate that my birthday next year is on a Thursday. which means Genlock will not premiere on my birthday. And I was just hoping for once in my life something premiered on my birthday, and like something amazing. But hey, I'll
Smash is coming out on my birthday. Super Smash Brothers, which I mean is fine, or Smash Bros, or whatever is going on. Ultimate, is that what's going on?
Why? Why?
I don't play the Smash games, so
yeah.
I'm like,
oh, Kingdom Hearts 3.
know.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out 5 days after my birthday, or 6 days. Is it January 29th or 30th that comes out?
29th. It's 29th, I think.
Okay, so yeah, 5 days after my birthday. So, yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff coming out around my birthday that's really awesome. I was just hoping for directly on, but yeah. No, I can imagine like Kingdom Hearts 3. There's some other big game coming out like the day before, day after that as well. And then if Genlock came out the same weekend, the world is gonna light itself on fire.
I know.
It's like goodbye. Everyone's gonna be like, oh, do I fight the Heartless, or do I fight this, or do I watch Genlock and see giant robots fight? Yeah. But, wait, so Stoic the Dragon Eater is saying that was the original idea, David. Isayama said that was the original way it was going, and Armin was going to have a bigger role really early on. Oh my gosh, why?
Why?
Where? Have you seen Steins Gate?
No.
Ah, never mind. I was gonna make a Steins Gate reference, being like, I need the phone microwave to send like a D-mail to like change his mind, and then like that way the world line will shift, so then we have the Attack on Titan that I wanted. But
oh dear.
Yeah. No,
I mean, that kind of reminds me, like, somebody told me that Deku was supposed to stay corkless, and he was gonna have like machines, like the other class girl with all the mechanics. And I was
I'm
like,
glad we got what we
cool.
got now.
But yeah, now it's like, oh, okay, this is really paying off. But before I was like, oh, like that's interesting.
I mean, that
like,
would have been too close
Machine Boy.
That would have been too close to Batman or Iron Man.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, like, it would have been also very inspirational, but I also think it's very inspirational and heartwarming to see him acknowledged by, like, his hero, you know?
Yeah.
And then, like, to even take on the torch from him. So. Okay, Arnold's like, you still said the Steins Gate reference. Well, yeah, but I meant, like, and Cal would have understand what I'm saying, but you should totally watch Steins Gate.
In the other timeline.
Yeah, in the other timeline, you would have watched Steins Gate and would have been like, I know that reference. So, also, Steins Gate, one of the best anime altogether. It has a beginning and an end. It's amazing. There's Steins Gate 0 right now.
As opposed to things that don't have a beginning or an end.
Yeah, oh, well, I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, it's one season, and that's it. And it's really well done, and it's a time travel science fiction thing. Yeah. Which is my stuff.
A couple people in my Discord are like, Cal, you have to watch this, and I'm just like, there's so much to do.
Yeah, don't watch it if you're feeling forced into it.
I'm just more like time is. I don't want to say time is running out, but I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, like you definitely run out of time in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Your Name, the movie?
No, okay. I want to. Though.
Never mind. I was gonna say, I watched Your Name, and then I found out Steins Gate had a movie, and I watched the movie. I'm like, Your Name freaking copied the Steins Gate movie, like almost like shot for shot in key moments. But wait, Brandon Dodge is saying he has a confession, and he's never seen Young Justice. I've never seen Young Justice either.
I don't know what that is, so I don't know what to tell you.
And then Connor's saying he needs to watch Steins Gate. I say, watch that. Actually, do an experiment for me. Watch Steins Gate all the way up to episode 23. There's 25 episodes altogether. Watch 23, watch the alternative ending to 23, and then watch Steins Gate 0 before going back to episode 24.
This just confused me.
Yeah. There's an episode in Steins Gate that had an alternate ending, and that's where Steins Gate 0 came from.
I do.
So it's like, oh, Steins Gate 0 is the alternative, what would have happened if they didn't do the original ending to Steins Gate 23. So, Anyway, should we wrap up this show?
Yeah, maybe if you want to.
So you
I'm
can
like, I
eat,
can talk forever.
So I
but,
could
yeah.
eat. But also so I could save a topic for like next week's VYTALcast before RTX. So
yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Cal.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. So thank you guys for
Hope y'all
watching.
had fun.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. And you should definitely recommend anime in the comments, or like if you watch Steins Gate or any of the other anime we mentioned, you should say that too. And yeah, see you next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.